Everybody. Hope you're having a great Monday. Back off camera today. I got a college kid who handles all that. And he couldn't get over there this morning, which I was hoping he would. But Cougar Track's already in the chat. Appreciate that, Cougar Tracks, and glad to have you along. And man, we've got a jam-packed show. Hope we can get it all in today. We are going to do our best. First of all, want to thank all our great sponsors. You'll notice on my show, you're not having to, at least not yet, subscribe and do all that stuff. Hey, when I think we're worth for you to spend some money, then I'll tell you. But right now, hey, we're just glad to get on the air with the new show, and very glad to have Treasure Investment Corporation. Of course, Michael will join us here a little bit later today, and looking forward to that. Get some great artwork, and there's never been a better time to get great artwork both in your home and your office for the same price. 2 for 1. That's right, BOGO. Buy one, get one free. And Michael will talk about that. Karen Johnson, Insignia, and you get hold of her anytime on Twitter at Karen Key Largo. Huge Texas A&M Aggie fan, but also roots for those Huskers. And she's a fan of college basketball. Excuse me. Just a fan of college football like we are. Scott Hammer, he is the official travel agent of Greg Swaim Sports and Greg Swaim Show. You can get hold of Scott on Twitter, on Facebook, any of those. Cruise planners, Helping Hands, Ray Sunshine, Mark and Cindy Welch are good friends, helping those folks in their home. We just lost one of those good folks this past weekend. As a matter of fact, my wife was taking care of some folks we know, helping them stay in their home, but so they didn't have to go to the, assisted living. And we lost a good friend this weekend, but lived a great life, good Christian man, and his funeral's today. But they help those folks stay in their homes so they don't have to go to the nursing homes, whatever. DoorDash and Wendy's, of course, are corporate sponsors, keeping us well fed. Appreciate those. Okay, let's get right to it because we got a short amount of time to get where we need to go. And Lincoln Riley to the NFL, yeah, that's been talked about for a while. Even when he was in Oklahoma, it was talked about. Those NFL guys seem to like those offensive minds. He has an offensive mind, but obviously no defense. And the Grinch, Grinch is not a great defensive coordinator. That's a fact. So who will be the next coach at USC? We'll see. Gundy Magic. Hey, 3 weeks ago, we were ready to bury the guy. Said time had passed him by. He made us all look bad, didn't he? 3 wins in a row, 2 of them over top 25 teams, and another on the road, West Virginia, a very hot team all of a sudden. And Gundy doing some magic. That's one of the topics. OU and Texas winner. Are they definitely going to be in? Well, no. If Oklahoma wins, obviously they'll have a better shot being undefeated. But what if Georgia, Florida State, the Ohio State, Michigan winner, which will bump up no less than number 2 behind Georgia. Number 3 would probably be Washington if they go undefeated and win the Pac-12. And then Florida State, who's ranked ahead of Oklahoma right now. If those 4 schools stay undefeated, Oklahoma could get left out at 13-0. As insane as that sounds. Now, the good news for Oklahoma is they're going to play somebody probably pretty good in the championship game, which most likely will be Texas. The winner of that should get in. But what if it's Texas with 1 loss already? Man, I don't know. Things usually work out if you go undefeated, but I think Oklahoma's going to have to go undefeated. And they've got a couple of games in Provo and Stillwater that aren't necessarily gimmies. Caleb Williams, no bueno. Sorry, son. You're not going to be the first 2-time Heisman Trophy winner in, it's been about 60 years, hasn't it? Archie Griffin. I was a little Purdue fan back then. And Archie Griffin ran all over my Boilermakers with you Ohio State fans. I remember Big Pete Johnson. We're all there to see the record set. I think he did the record at Purdue talking about Archie Griffin And all of a sudden, Ohio State's first possession, we're just waiting for Archie to get the ball. They give it to Big Pete, rumbles up the middle for 80 yards. 80 yards. They were on the 20 probably after a kick. Cougar Track says, yeah, Oklahoma and Texas didn't look all that superior this week. Boy, they sure did not. They are very lucky both to escape with a win. And that's what makes me think neither, well, of course, Texas already lost to Oklahoma, but I don't know if Oklahoma goes undefeated. I don't. And you know what? That could end this Saturday at noon. It really could. They could go to Lawrence and lose. We can talk about that, certainly. So a lot on the table, no doubt about it. We can talk about it with you. Of course, I'm off camera, so I'm doing y'all a favor. I'll get that college kid out here to fix that thing. And, man, I wish I could show you all the camera equipment here that's not been set up yet, only because yours truly doesn't know how to do it. Yeah, I'm 61. You know how technology works. Kids know it like the back of their hand. My generation, we got the tail end of it, so we know just enough to be dangerous. But anyway, you can jump in on the chat line. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. What do you think about the Big 12 now? Is it definitely Oklahoma and Texas after a weekend where both teams escaped bottom feeders? I mean, Texas escaped Houston on, what could have been a bad spot on the ball. And I would have liked to see what would happen if they got that first down, the Cougars, and gone in and upset. And then again, UCF gave Oklahoma everything they want. Just when we're ready to crown the Sooners, they go out and nearly lay an egg. Both very lucky. But once again, in this day and age where parity's getting even better, the NIL is apparently attributed to parity, which is fine. Yes. I'm going to tell you guys this. You think it's different from when you have a camera in your face to when you're just doing kind of like radio, like we're doing right now, audio only. I feel much more comfortable. I've been doing this for 35 years now. Yeah. So I can do it without a camera, but get that camera, it kind of freaks me out a little bit sometimes. We'll get the camera back on, but I do for now feel more comfortable doing it this way. We'll put Michael on the camera when we get him on. And we got some good guests coming around the corner. We'll get some dates set. Let you know when those are. We appreciate, obviously, each and every one of our great sponsors. And, Oklahoma and Texas did not look too sharp this week. But then again, I mean, I don't know how strong anybody is this year. I don't think Georgia's as strong as they've been the last 2 years. They just lost their All-American receiver, tight end. He's big time. That takes away a comfortability factor with the quarterback. It always does. If you go to your tight end, you got a big old tight end that's the best in the country, and you feel like you can go to him on third and short, second and 7, and get your first downs. Yeah, that's a comfortability factor. Running back, a comfortability factor. Great receivers, a comfortability factor. I just don't know if Georgia's quite as good without him. Well, they're not as good without him. You don't bring in and just replace somebody like that. So it'll be interesting to watch Georgia here the next couple weeks. Can they get by possibly Alabama, if it's going to be Alabama in the championship? And Alabama's getting better, folks. They got themselves in a deep hole on Saturday at home against the Vols and came back. And, give them credit. It's a very young team. Now, that was the other topic I wanted to get to. Somebody, Baylor fan, was letting me know that we're the youngest team in college football. And, that used to mean something. If you had a great recruiting class or two and they were all red shirts and freshman red shirts, you would say to yourself, yeah, we're young, man. We're expected to be really good next year. Well, things have changed. How many of those guys are coming back? You don't know. A lot of them don't even know. Things could change. Somebody's going to offer, maybe you got a big-time offensive lineman or something, but no, not this year. Their line's not very good at Baylor. But let's say you got one or two receivers that are really good and a DB. And somebody goes, hey, we're going to offer you more money to come to our place. Maybe it's Texas. you know what? That don't count your chickens before they're hatched anymore. On, hey, we've got 2 great recruiting classes. They're finally going to grow up next year. Next year's going to be our year. Well, yeah, if they all come back and they're all on the same page, but those days are gone, folks. I mean, you might have a kid there who's real happy right now, really happy at Baylor, loves Baylor, his girlfriend's there. All of a sudden, somebody says, hey, we're in the SEC. We're going to compete next year. We pretty much need your position. You start day one, All-American, go into the NFL, and we're going to pay you a lot of money to do it. And we're going to give your girlfriend a academic scholarship and all that good stuff. Don't tell me we're young and we got a lot of talent, because all that means to me is a bigger fish is going to come down and check out your school and try to sneak a few players away with NIL money. So let's not talk about, hey, our team's young and blah, blah. You are what you are. You are what you are right now. Okay. Got a couple on the text line, on the DoorDash text line, but we always get to the chat line first. We would prefer you texters go ahead and get on the chat line. And the Cougar Track says, do you think Texas will start Manning this week? Woo! Man, you know what? That is a great question, because first of all, Cougar Tracks, you helped me step right into the next part of it. Quinn Ewers, we got word this afternoon, early this afternoon, put it on Twitter, most of you know, that a couple of folks in Austin, Texas tell us it may be a little worse than we thought. Don't count on him being back next week, as most people have announced, but don't count on him being back for several weeks. Quinn Ewers out. Will it be Manning? Will the book of Manning continue in D1 football? And you know what? I'd go ahead. He's got to be ready by now. He's a smart kid, obviously great backgrounds and all that good stuff. He can come in and, I mean, he's probably pretty good right now. Heck, he may be better than Ewers. Who knows? So, yeah, I think they probably will. The thing is, you're not really worried about redshirting a guy like Manning, because after 3 years, redshirt or not, they can leave anyway. So you might as well get as much playing time out of him as you can, because, you know, yours can leave after this year. You remember, this is his 3rd year out. He started early at Ohio State, so he didn't have to play a senior year in Texas. And so yours could be gone after this year. You know, is he injury prone? Is the NFL worried about the guy being injury prone? Yeah, sure. That's always an issue when you're paying that kind of money. Always want to tell you about our great spots. Of course, Scott Hammer, those of you know, we're working on a Big 12 cruise. And you don't have to be a Big 12 fan to go, but you know, we kind of favor one conference here. We like the Big 12. We're right in the center part of the United States, and they kind of represent the Midwest, although we are moving east and west. Scott Hammer will send you to any game you need to go to and get you on a flight quick. Get you rent a car, get you a hotel. Why would you get on? I mean, you can get online nowadays and do that yourself, but what you don't know can hurt you. It can cost you money. And Scott's the kind of guy who, hey, he's been doing this so long, does it every single day, knows every little wrinkle in the book to save you money. Of course, Helping Hands, Ray of Sunshine, Mark and Cindy Welch. What a great business. I don't know if your mom and dad are old enough yet, or heck, you may be old enough. I'm getting there. But, you know, someday reality sets in, we get older, we get weaker, and, you know, we're going to need a little help around the house to stay here and not have to go to assisted living. You got an assist come in every day. Mark and Cindy with the assist. Yeah, Helping Hands, Ray of Sunshine. Love those folks. They do a great job. And I think I've told you more than 1,000 times, my wife, Paula, works for them. So, matter of fact, she's at a funeral right now. Just lost one of her clients that I've known personally long before I met Paula 34 years ago when we started dating. I knew this family. I don't want to mention their name online for privacy reasons, but yeah, just lost a great man who was big in our church, and yeah, it's reality, you know. if you don't live anywhere close to mom and dad where you can go help them every day, then you need somebody like Mark and Cindy Welch helping his. Of course, DoorDash and Wendy's are corporate sponsors, and Treasure Investment Corporation and Michael Shepard. We'll get him on here a little bit. I don't think I've told y'all before. Maybe Michael is my biological uncle, but I didn't know him until about 4 or 5 years ago. I was adopted as a baby, and maybe I'm one of those non-curious people. I can remember being a kid, people go, "You're adopted? Where's your mom and dad?" I go, "My mom and dad are at home, Bob, Charlie, and Swain." No, your real parents. They are my real parents. They're the ones that raised me. You're biological. Okay, we're talking biological parents. So for health reasons and things like that, sometimes you want to find out what runs the family, because how many times do you fill out paperwork and it says, is cancer running in your family, heart attacks, diabetes, whatever? I don't know. And now I'm getting to that age where they ask a lot more for life insurance policies and things like that. So I did that, what's it called? Ancestry.com. They send you a little thing in the mail and you spit the tube, lock it up, send it back. And then they tell you not only what percentage of nationalities you are and things like that, but also they give you a list of people who are related to you that have done the same thing. So that was kind of cool. So I run into this guy in Minnesota who was like a third cousin. And I got hold of him and he got back with me. And I said, here's what I know. He said, "I think I know who your mother is." And he sent it back, sent me some information. I contacted her, and sure enough, that's who it was. We talked for about 4 or 5 years. And to be real honest with you, we are about as polar opposite socially as you could ever imagine. She's a big time liberal. As you know, I'm fairly conservative. That's understating things a bit. No, I'm not a MAGA. I'm not. I will likely vote for the Republican candidate, regardless of who it is. But I am not a MAGA. I do not. I'm not a big fan of the person, although his policies are much more aligned with mine as a conservative. But anyway, back to the story. Meanwhile, back to the ranch. So Sherry is my biological mother, lives in the Columbus, Ohio area. Yeah, Buckeye fans, I know, right? My dad has a PhD at Ohio State too. So why don't you root for the Buckeyes? Well, I've never been a bandwagon guy. I root for my own alma mater, Oklahoma State, the other OSU. But anyway, through her, actually, I'm taking that back. I didn't meet her first. I met my biological uncle on the phone, and it's Michael Shepard, right? Very impressive guy. You see him here every Monday. You're going to see him here, in about 12 more minutes. And we got to talking, and he's much more like me. Conservative Christian, definitely not a fan of the liberals. And so we'll get him on here in a little bit. But, if I never talk to my biological mother again, that's fine. I found out what I needed to know. I found out who my biological father is and all that good stuff. He died in Vietnam as a Marine in 1966. So I found out a lot of things. The good news is, as far as the health issues are, they all live into their 90s. Nobody has heart attacks or cancer for the most part. So I guess that's good. But anyway, you got to die of something, right? But Michael Shepard is a great guy. First name basis with some of the big politicians and big time people in the world, and but as humble as could be about it. He lives in Nashville. Can't wait to go visit him and meet some cousins and second cousins and all that good stuff that I've never met. So looking forward to that. Okay. A couple more things going in. Got the text line going. Of course, the DoorDash text line, you can jump in on that, 405-880-2316. But we would prefer you jump in the chat line, as Cougar Tracks has already done. And here's a couple of questions from the chat line. Greg, how sure are you about your sources? I'm a Texas fan. Okay. Oh, we spell it Tejas. Tejas. I got it. I'm a Tejas fan and scared to death. Oh, don't be. Don't be. Your team is good enough to win without yours. And if it's Manning, I don't know, Texas fans out there, what do you think? Do you feel good with Manning? I mean, yours may never get a spot back. Who knows? But it's good to have two quarterbacks. Good to have somebody ready to go. And I think you got a good one, obviously, in Manning. And he's been in the program now half a year. He should have most of the plays already ready in his head to go. Follow-up question. Greg, do you think we'll beat OU if we play them again in the championship? Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. I think you've got more talent overall and more depth. And by the end of the season, that depth will come into question more because obviously you lose players on the average of one a week. OU lost one of their terrific receivers a while back. I guess that was in the Texas game. So, and then, of course, Texas just lost their quarterback. Arguably, now we're hearing longer than a week or two. Originally, when it came out, he's out for a week or two, talking about yours. We're hearing from some Texas media friends right now who kind of want to remain nameless, but feel pretty confident that, there were some long faces in Austin today as news started leaking out a little bit that Quinn Ewers is going to be out 3 to 4 weeks, possibly even as long as the Big 12 championship game. So we'll see. We will see. It'll be interesting. Always interesting, but some great players going down. Georgia lost arguably their best player, the best tight end in college football. We know this well. It's a kind of game where you're going to lose players. Heck, you lose them in basketball, baseball all the time. So surely you're going to lose them in a contact sport like football. Okay. NIL news. Some Oklahoma State fans starting to get wind that Boone Pickens left a lot of money posthumously, $250 million, $350 million. And I understand a lot of that's going to go to NIL, and the Cowboys are going to get very, very, very serious about NIL. It's about freaking time as a two-time Oklahoma State alumnus. Oklahoma State hadn't really jumped in that game very well, so I'm ready for them to definitely do that. All right. Okay, got a couple more questions on the text line. And, of course, you can jump in anytime on the comments chat line. We'd love to have you. Hey, please subscribe. Cost you absolutely nothing, not a dime. You won't get blown up by my phone or your phone or emails or any of that stuff. It just helps us to grow the channel and get more sponsors and things like that. We probably have more sponsors than anybody else out there. I bet we're in the top 1% of all sponsorships of small channels. Now we're not like ESPN having their own channel or anything like that. We're just little old Greg Swaim, and up in the right-hand corner there, you see Greg's Gear. You can click on that, and it will. I don't know if I got that part fixed yet. I gotta probably fix that part out, but there's a way. I've got an IT guy, and it's the same guy who's going to come out and fix my cameras and things like that, and hopefully we'll get that all set for good. But he's going to come out here, and we will have links for all of our sponsors at the top of the page. And at any one time when you're watching, you can just go ahead and click in and take their page, sign up. You click Greg's Gear. If you've got, let's say a youth football or basketball or baseball, softball team, whatever, and you want custom uniforms, the very best for the very less price, get hold of my good friend Karen Johnson at Insignia, and it's at Karen Key Largo on Twitter, and she will take care of you. Michael Shepard going to join us from Treasure Investment Corporation here in just a little bit. And then for dinner, we're gonna combine our two corporate sponsors, DoorDash and Wendy's. I'm going to order a Wendy's, and DoorDash is going to bring it to me. How about that? Yeah, Cougar Tracks I got a text here from one of my sources that's paying attention. Said, yeah, Manning should start this week. Well, I don't know. What's the name of the kid they put in when yours went down? He did all right. I mean, didn't kill him or anything. He was just basically put in there to not lose the game, and did a decent job managing. I mean, they got an unbelievable line and an unbelievable running back. They can hand off the game 40 times in a row and tell you they're going to do it and still beat you. The other question, Kansas fan, will we beat the Sooners on Saturday? You could. You certainly could. Now, that depends what Oklahoma team are we going to see. Are we going to see the one that came out and played against Texas? Or are we going to, at the Cotton Bowl, or are we going to see the one that came out and laid an egg, almost a real bad egg, on Saturday against UCF? And UCF is better. I said this during the game. Listen, UCF continues to get better and better, and they've got a good quality coach, obviously proven in Gus Malzahn. But what they don't have is a ton of depth. And most of the G5s that are going to jump into P5 are going to find out that depth is the big key. You can have the best starters in the world, but if you lose half of them and you drop down to guys that would be not even get scholarships on the teams you're playing, you're probably going to lose. And as the season goes on, the G5 teams that join, the four, and I don't really feel comfortable calling BYU a G5, but it is what it is. I'm kind of excited to see. We're starting to see these teams catch on a little bit. Just as they do, though, I'm afraid the depth issue is going to kick in a little bit, because Cincinnati and UCF and Houston can go out and get some good players from their own areas that maybe could have gone to Ohio State, or maybe could have gone to Florida or Miami or Florida State, or they could have gone to Texas or Texas A&M, but they wanted to start earlier, so they went to those other schools that were G5s that are going to be P5s, which is great, but there's not enough of them yet. They'll continue to do that, and UCF can show what they did. Hey, we almost beat Oklahoma. If Oklahoma becomes a playoff team, obviously that looks very good for them later on, and say, hey, we're just a little bit behind. We need you to make the difference. And look, UCF, I said it when the Big 12 was looking at them, long before they signed them. UCF's a sleeping giant for a lot of reasons, but mainly because they're in Florida. They have more talent, probably in a 30-mile radius, than Oklahoma does in the entire state. No, they definitely do. No maybes about it. Michael Shepard going to join us from Treasure Investment Corporation here in a few minutes. Looking forward to talking with Michael each week. And I'm telling you what, I'm pushing him to make some sports award trophies type deal you can put on your desk. They've got beautiful artwork, and you need to go check them out. But I would love for them to do some more sports, and I think they're going to get into that, so I'm very excited about that. Also very excited about our good friend Scott Hammer at Cruise Planners setting up our Big 12 cruise a little less than a year from now, August of 2024. And we're looking at just filling the place up with Big 12 and college football fans. And, hey, while we're on the cruise, having a Mai Tai or two, we're talking about football coming up. We'll all be undefeated. We'll all be very excited about the upcoming season, bringing in 4 brand new programs in addition to the 4 we just brought in this year, and the Elite 8, as I like to call them, the 8 that are staying. The Hateful 8, some have called them, but it's going to be so much fun. I'm so excited about our sponsors, and they do. I mean, listen, if you talk to them, tell them you really appreciate them sponsoring us, because that means you don't have to pay subscriber fees and stuff like that. When I tell you to subscribe, you can subscribe, but you don't have to pay anything. You subscribe on somebody else's, like what's it called, 364, 365, something like that. They've got, man, I mean, just to chat, you got to pay like $20 or something. We're not going to do that. We want you here. Why would we charge you an arm and a leg to talk to us? We want you here talking to us, like Cougar Tracks. He's here all the time. He's number one, man. He jumped in first. See if you can beat him tomorrow. Anyway, Michael going to join us here in just a little bit, as we mentioned. We'll talk a little bit about Treasure Investments Corporation. Of course, Karen Johnson, I told her the other day, we need to get her on and let everybody know and show everybody just how good a quality that her company has. And obviously, another one of our great companies, Treasure Investment Corporation, Michael Shepard, joins us each Monday. And we're going to jump in right now and bring Michael in. And Michael, first of all, how you doing, buddy?
Well, I'm blessed so much more than I deserve. That's for sure. Thank you for asking.
Well, I'm so excited. You sent me earlier today, and we put it on all of our social media. You've got the full-size eagle with the Constitution, a version that are sitting on some pretty famous people's desks right now.
Well, it was pretty cool. A little history for your audience. On the eve of President Ronald Reagan's inauguration, he was presented by Lorenzo Guillieri, one of our artists, the Presidential American Patriot, which has become the official American bald eagle in the White House for America, which is really cool. So through the years, we have done certain editions of that particular piece. And when we presented to President Trump, which is as you go into Mar-a-Lago in the foyer, there is a Presidential American Patriot, as you know.
Well, I think we lost Michael, and he's talking about, and I don't know if you've seen it or if you've been on any of our social media today, you have seen it. Unbelievable piece of artwork, and it's got an American eagle, bald eagle, and then it's got the Constitution right below it. And any American would be proud to have that, no doubt about it. And we'll hope to get Michael back. Don't know if he lost his internet connection or what, but let's see here. Add him
installation
back.
In Las Vegas, where we just put it in the Venetian, in the gallery, the signature gallery of the Venetian.
That's outstanding. And I was just telling people, I lost you just for a second, but was telling people this is there's never been a better time. We talked about BOGO last week, and an opportunity not only to get maybe the eagle with the Constitution, which is just a piece of artwork that any true American would love to have in their office desk or in their home when people come in and can view it and see it, love it, you know. But now you can get two of them for the price of one, which is incredible, because in the world of art, that doesn't always happen.
No, of course, while it lasts, and some things sound too good to be true, and usually they are. But while we are in the process of selling the three pieces that we've completed and created, which, as you know, is Michelangelo's Silver Pietà, 20,333 ounces of 0.999 silver. The second piece is the Battle of the Centaurs, which your audience has seen, which we unveiled with Steve Forbes as well at Freedom Fest in Vegas last July. And now the Belvedere Torso by the artist Apollonius. Now we're working on David. When any one of those three pieces sell, or we're now in discussions to sell all three, with a first right of refusal for David, because we've just started producing David, and it'll take 10 to 12 months to create. But now people have a chance to buy equity shares, own a piece of the pie, receive dividends, and then they can match dollar for dollar, as you know, their investment by choosing the art that they want, that they love. And we're the world's, I don't know if I've ever shared this with you. Treasure Investments is the world's largest owner of master molds. We had about 2,000 master molds, which are all unique and limited editions. And we just acquired, I guess not just, maybe 4 months ago, the complete Vanderveen collection, Noed Vanderveen. And those are amazing. And that added another, I'm going to say about, well, I don't want to say wrong, but several hundred master molds. So that's exciting for me and exciting for our family of shareholders as well.
I just got a text on our DoorDash text line. Want you to explain because I could try, but you're the expert. Talk about master molds and what those actually are and what they would mean to a potential investor.
And since you're family, I can share with your audience that you are very trying. So
Absolutely.
a master mold, well, let's take it from the beginning. Michelangelo or Lorenzo Guilieri, or any artist for that matter, creates a piece. Michel in marble, Lorenzo in clay. And once that piece is created, that's the original. And then a plaster Paris or red wax or some other commodity is poured around that original sculpture, be it bronze or marble or clay. That's a reverse. So now if you take that mold and you turn it over, that mold becomes a hollowed out master mold. Master meaning it's the only one. It's the master. And then, as with the Vatican and with the house of Michelangelo, called Casabarante, that's his last name, they then said, you can have the right to produce one, the first, the last, and the only, and only in precious metal. Ferdinando Marinelli Foundry has the right to produce no more than 12 in marble or bronze. When Treasure Investment, with its 230 artists, produces a original master mold, we then can decide what that edition, limited edition, is going to be. It can be 5,000, it can be 1, it can be 99. For example, when we did the Presidential American Patriot in pure silver, it was 99. When we did it for President Trump, it was 350. So that we have the rights then to duplicate it for our 104 galleries across America, for our charity division, and for people who just want to buy it. Like I promised you I would send you the commission piece we did for Bo Jackson. Did you receive that?
I did. I'll have to go look at that one. I know I got that. I just didn't get to all of it yet, and because it's a pretty long email, if I remember right. And I got about the same time I got 50 of them on, I think, Saturday. But
I sent you the photograph, so you have what Bo Jackson
I'm sure it's
said,
in there.
I want this piece. Will you do it? And so, Bo knows. And so we did whatever Bo wanted.
Cougar Tracks jumps in on the chat line, said, I saw the picture of the eagle. Very nice. Cougar Tracks, long-time BYU fan follower. And we were talking a little bit earlier before I had you on. I'm going to try to encourage you guys to do more sports stuff since you're doing it for Bo Jackson and all that. I mean, because I'm a sports guy. I imagine most people listening. Although I've had a lot of comments about the Stallion. Talk about the Stallion. That seems to be, besides the Eagle and the Constitution, the Stallion looks to be the most popular piece.
Well, it is. Lorenzo was a horse person, an equestrian, and wildlife, and a bit of history. Ferrari the original.
Right.
That is that stallion. And they commissioned Lorenzo Guillieri to do the Ferrari stallion. And we have a letter and a photograph, and it's kind of cool. That's Enzo directly. Well, they're both passed away now. And we then have the master mold. So we produced one for the Barrett Jackson show, and we did it in stainless steel since it would last almost forever. And of course, it sold. And then we produced it in bronze, and they sold. And now we do a polished bronze, which has a gold, silvery patina to it. And we do it for, as you go into big gated communities. In Scottsdale, for example, you'll see the Ferrari Stallion. For car dealers who do Ferraris, you'll see the Ferrari Stallion. Some of the people not only wanted the Stallion, but they wanted it on a rotating pedestal. And we do that. We do that as well. So it's the coolest thing ever. And it got so popular and we sold them out so quickly that we decided to do smaller versions, because how many people want a 10-foot, 1,250 pound Ferrari Stallion? So why limit the market, and why not please our customers and our shareholders? And so that's what we did.
We a couple of weeks ago, we put together it was a slideshow of all the artwork that you guys put out, and put that online. And of course, the Ferrari Stallion, I've had 3 different coaches whose teams, their team mascot is there's the Mustangs, the Broncos, and I'm trying to remember the other one. And they all said, man, I want that. How do I get that? I go, here's Michael's info. So hopefully they'll be calling you soon. They're all getting ready for basketball season now, but those would be great places when you walk in the entryway to have a 10-foot stallion there, wouldn't it?
You bet. And in addition, for example, if it's the Colts or whomever, if they want the piece that'll be outside, we clear coat the bronze. You don't have to do it for stainless steel, but they may want a true looking Bronco, which that would be bronze, because that's the color of the horse, not stainless steel. And we clear coat it so it will last for 20 years or so before it has to be re-clear coated.
Very good. Now let's give your information again, because I haven't been doing a good enough job of doing that here on the show. Obviously, I mention you all the time and the company's name and all that good stuff, but if they want to get hold of you, what's the best number, email, all that good stuff?
Well, my number, I live in Nashville, Brentwood, outside of Nashville, is 615 400 1099. 1099 because I get blessed with a lot of money. The Lord has been very, very generous.
There you go.
My email address is my full name, Michael Shepherd, one word, MICHAEL SHEPPARD at Comcast.net. And they can call me anytime, night or day. I'm in real life, I'm chief executive officer and chairman of the board of Nevada Mining Company, and I've got 9,000 shareholders who I serve. With Treasure Investments, I'm a partner in the company, as you know, and helped start it back in 1998. And then this company was restarted brand new 5 years ago. So it's fun, and they can come see me, not just in Nashville, but we'll be at the Barrett Jackson Car Show in January, last week in January. My next show is in the New Orleans Investment Conference the first week in November. And then we'll do the Super Summit for family offices in Fort Lauderdale the first week in December. Barrett Jackson in Scottsdale is always at the same time. And then we'll do the Safari Club International, which I want you to come see me and your family, which will be, I guess, in February. So we do a lot of shows. We have a lot of fun. And we bring a lot of artwork at Scottsdale, Barrett Jackson. We have a 30 by 40 booth, and we'll bring the Ferrari Stallion, obviously.
Yeah, that's what I want to see for sure. And of course, you travel around to where folks are at, and a lot of our listeners will be close, and you can hook up with you and meet you and all that good stuff. Because you're coming into their living room once a week, so that's good, and they get to know you. And somebody said the other day, "Hey, you guys kind of look alike," and I'm like, "Well, that's an insult to him, but I'll take the compliment." So,
You're
good
just a
stuff.
you're just a new model. That's all.
Is that it? Okay.
I mean, look, I'm 78 years old.
There
For
you
goodness
go.
sakes,
There you go.
I
I know
think
what I'll look. I know what I'll look like in
you and
17 years.
Scott.
In
Yeah, how old are you now?
61.
Well, Scott's 57, my older son,
Okay.
as you know. So you could be my son
Yeah, there you
instead
go.
of
But
my
I'm your
nephew.
nephew at least.
There
And
you go.
of course, Scott played college tennis at David Lipscomb, right?
He
So
did. He
it's
did.
always good to have a D1 athlete in the family. I always say. That's why I always tell my sons, "Hey, if you're tied in between two girls and you can't decide, please go for the 6'2" girl because I want some grandchildren in the NBA." So.
Well, he was, he's a full ride, and he also played for University of Wisconsin.
Oh, I did
I
not
don't
know.
know if you knew that.
No, I did not. We got a lot of Badger fans on here, so tell me about that.
Well, it was great. He loved it, but Wisconsin is Wisconsin, and I got fired from my job at Weisler Engineering when someone else took over, and that's what brought me. And the Lord obviously put it together. What was meant for evil, the Lord turned it out for good. That brought us to Nashville, and obviously, I needed Scott, and Scott came with me. And while Bobby was selling the home in West Bend, Wisconsin, Scott and I were together, and he decided that he loved Nashville, didn't want to come at first, but he wanted to be with me. And so he got a full ride and switched colleges, and he was a superstar. He still is a superstar, but just not necessarily at tennis.
Well, I know you guys go to those Titans games too. For our Titans fans who might be on here right now, give them some words of encouragement. They need it.
Well, I'm the eternal optimist, and obviously our first string quarterback is having problems. King Henry is having problems. Everyone keys on him.
Yeah.
And now, Willis looks like who we're going to have to turn to. And when you think of the best defensive player making more money than our entire defensive line, you know why we can't protect our quarterback. So
Yeah.
it takes money.
That is a problem, and hopefully Derrick Henry will be protected. So maybe God will put his hand over him because he's getting beat up pretty good.
And so is the quarterback. You can't get sacked and hang in the pocket. We got a great quarterback, but if you don't protect him, how great does he show?
You got to have an offensive line, no doubt about it. Michael, always so great having you on Mondays. And I'm going to get out to that email you sent me a couple days ago, and the Bo Jackson trophy. Well, what would we call that? What that Bo has?
I think I'm not sure. It's two American bald eagles fighting over a salmon.
Yeah, it was a fish. I knew that.
Yeah, and but I'm not so sure what Bo called it. You need to call Bo and ask him.
Well, we got some Auburn fans on here for sure that anything Bo has, as we know, Bo knows. So Bo knows art. So if Bo knows art, those Auburn fans are going to want to have what Bo has. Maybe we'll have to get something for Barry Sanders for all these Oklahoma State fans as well.
Amen. And Bo, not just knowing art, he's a real savvy investor.
Yeah,
and,
I've heard that.
That's like Michael Jordan, and the list goes on. But for every savvy investor who played professional ball of any sort, there's maybe 3,000 who were taken advantage of.
Yeah, I know that for a fact.
And that's why I want to get more of them investing in fine art, because in the last 5 years, investment in fine art has outpaced Standard and Poor's by 18% a year.
Do you have a
So it's
graphic
better
on
than the stock market.
Michael? Is there somewhere I can get a graphic on that to put on our streaming stuff?
I'll have Jason Dilling, who's our president of sales, get that to us.
Because I tell people this: like, if you could have an investment that's anywhere as good as like the S&P or something like that, but even better, and you get to look at it every day and enjoy it, pass it on to your children, but you can always sell it if you need to. I think it's the perfect investment. So much more so with with the volatility of the two different wars going on right now. It makes you wonder sometimes. And I would imagine it makes artwork increase because, as you mentioned before, and a lot of people know this, when the stock market kind of goes down a little bit, gold goes up. Well, a lot of your stuff's done in precious metals. So it's a great investment to hedge against the Standard & Poor's going down.
Well, we're going to do Michelangelo's Battle of the Centaurs in about 3,000 ounces of gold. We did one piece already called the Sovereign Reign, which was a lion. We sold it for $13 million to a Japanese investor. So we're going to do that in gold as well, one and one only of the Battle of Centaurs, which is really, really cool. And, just being part of that is amazing.
Yeah, we want to get, as you mentioned last week, maybe you have, what's the name of the other fellow that you work with? Draw a blank of the name, and I didn't write it down anywhere.
Well, Captain Russ Griffin is
Okay.
the guy who's my neighbor, and he took, in follow up to your mentioning about silver, he had in his IRA 31 100 ounces of silver, which we gave the price of $71,500 current spot value, and he converted that to shares, which was amazing, and that went right into his IRA, so there were no tax consequences in the transaction at all. Brilliant move for him. Other people that we talked about are converting it to their silver bars or bullion or even coins into silver art. So they're no longer in a lockbox or in some storage area hidden. They actually can show it off and display it and insure it with a writer. We created a whole different profit center now with doing people who want to convert their gold and silver into sculptures.
That's outstanding. I hope those listening, those who will listen on the on-demand after we're done doing it here live, that they will jump on and they'll hit you up and hopefully tell them Swaim sent you, which will be good. Michael Shepard always on every Monday. Appreciate him. Of course, does such a great job on the show. We appreciate him. Treasure Investments Corporation. And tell everybody over there I said hello. Look forward to meeting everybody.
And remember, thank you. Remember, Greg, that we can, for those people who call me and are truly interested and qualified as an investor, that our treat, we will fly them into Portland, pick them up, put them in a hotel, take them to the foundry, meet the artist, meet the executive staff, private tour of our private museum, and everything that they're seeing, they'll be able to see live and in person.
Exactly.
No obligation. No obligation.
And and they can meet you up at the other places as well. You just won't pay for their hotel and all that. But Portland, you will. So if y'all are serious about this, make sure to get hold of Michael. Once again, Michael, tell folks how to get hold of you directly.
615-400-1099. That's the best way. I will return your call. I promise you.
And 1099, a really great way to remember it for taxes as well, because this will be a good investment for you. Not only that, one you can pass on to your heirs, and yeah, I'm already looking at the stallion. I love the stallion. The 2-for-1 deal. Paul and I are talking about that, and maybe getting back with you on that soon, because I think that'd be beautiful for people to come into my office, and that's the first thing they see. But also in the foyer in our living room would be, as they're walking into the living room, they got to walk by the stallion. And that is definitely a conversation piece, no doubt.
Well, what size do you want?
Well, I don't know. That's what I got to talk to Paul about. The boss lady makes all the decisions. So she's in Oklahoma City today with Seth and getting ready for a nephew's wedding. So I'm glad they're doing that, and I'm doing this.
Well, how did you like the weekend football?
Well, it's all right. I was kind of hoping Oklahoma and Texas would both get beat. They got by. I would have liked to see the Vols beat the Crimson Tide, but that didn't happen either. They got a good start. And now I've not talked to you about that here on the show, but are you still a little bit of an Ohio State fan growing up in the Buckeye State?
Oh, you betcha. Growing up in Dayton, and I got my master's degree. It was interesting because when I graduated from Miami University of Ohio, there was nowhere to get a master's degree. Bobby and I got married, and I went to work for Firestone at Dayton Tire and Rubber. But the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base went to Ohio State and Miami University. And I was one of their first master degree students in business. And we didn't even have a name. Now the name has become Wright State University, but it was originally Ohio State and Miami University combined, and I was one of their first students.
One of my good friends in basketball, Paul Biancardi, you'll see him on the ESPN quite a bit talking about basketball recruiting, but Paul used to be the head coach at Wright State. So we've talked about that a lot since my first 5 years were spent in Dayton, Ohio, and my dad was at Wright Pat. Well, the Air Force was paying for him to get his PhD in aeronautical engineering at Ohio State. So he was driving from Dayton to Columbus every day and back. And I think he had what do you call it when your stomach gets eaten out from all the pressure? You get a little hole in your stomach. What's that called?
Oh, I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And
anyway,
ulcer.
Ulcer. He had an ulcer when he was working on his PhD. And he claims that it wasn't from that. He claims it was just because I make anybody get an ulcer. So,
well, you can count me as a confirming witness for that.
Well,
my mom said that I would make a priest curse. That was my moniker.
My mother and I. Unfortunately, you probably never meet her. She's in a nursing home right now, but she was probably the nicest Christian lady ever met besides her mother, and none of them ever cussed. And one time my mother said darn or something like that. I go, Mom, you said darn. She goes, you'd make anybody cuss. And my wife says that. My wife says that from time to time as well, so I forgive them. But hey, so great having you on. Say hello to the wife and the family, and always so good having you on. Look forward to having you on next Monday.
You bet. Send this to Scott so that he can be part of us.
Oh, I definitely will. Definitely will. Thank you, sir.
I love you, my brother.
Love you, brother. And
bye-bye.
There's Michael Shepard. We have him on every week. Does such a great job. That's about going to end for us. I want to thank, of course, Michael at Treasure Investment Corporation, but also Karen Johnson at Insignia, Karen at Key Largo on Twitter. Scott Hammer, Cruise Planners. He's the guy that sets up all of our vacation plans. He'll do yours too. Helping Hands, Red Sunshine. Mark and Cindy Welch. And, of course, our corporate sponsors, DoorDash and Wendy's. Matter of fact, getting ready to have some of that right now. Hey, great having you on. We'll talk to you tomorrow.